Sheeit Radio.
That was fucking great, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sheeit Radio. Of course, I'm your host, Bill Brasky, joined as always by my fellow hosts, Liarz and Wasted. And tonight on the show, we have a very special guest. It's time for some healing. It's time for our souls to be saved. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Reverend Jay. Reverend Jay, how are you?
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah to you, Reverend Jay. Hallelujah to you. For all atheists, tonight's going to be a show not for you. And what is it, Wasted? I got to make it 2 minutes without telling someone to go blank themselves. So for all the atheists tonight, well, go blank yourselves. In about 10 minutes, I'll tell you where you can really go with yourselves, heathens. All right, so we're just going to shoot the crapperoonie. And, we'll start going. So first thing we want to talk about on the show tonight is because we really want to start off on an upbeat pace and really make everyone feel good about themselves is this show is going to be dedicated tonight to a special soul that Reverend Jay is going to say a prayer for afterwards. But we have Reverend Jay on for a reason. Here in the Sheeit Radio family, we had a loss this week, and it was a sad loss, and we're dedicating the show to this entity, this soul. And Liarz, do you want to kind of touch on it?
Well, thank you for the words, Brasky. Yes, indeed. It's a very somber attitude in the Liarz house this week. We lost our cat after 17 years. So some people may be rolling their eyes right now and scoffing at that the show may be dedicated to a cat, but 17 years is a long time, and I never had to go through what I went through this week. It was very eye-opening, very humbling, and very, very sad situation. So like I said, we had this cat for 17 years. His name, we got him when he was 8 weeks old, and on his registration with the city, his name is General Bobcat. That was the cat's name. Throughout the years, it evolved into his nickname became Stinker because one day he stopped burying his poo in the litter box, so it stank. So we called him Stinker. Stinker had a good life. So he got sick. This happened very quickly, and probably about 2 weeks prior to me putting him down. A couple of days ago, he was fine, and then he just went downhill with the snap of his fingers. And I knew I had to take him into the vet, and everything being the climate that it is now, money's tight, stress is high, everything. So that was just another stressor that I had on my life, and I was avoiding it, and I was putting it off. And finally, I couldn't put it off anymore, so I took him to the vet. I made it a euthanasia appointment for the vet, and I took him in, and this is very upsetting because as everybody knows, I have 2 little boys at home. Well, they're not so little anymore. They're I guess they're tweens now, I think is what I was told the other day. And I asked the vet, of course my wife too, and I asked the vet, I was like, look, I need you to tell me I'm doing the right thing, right? And he's like, well, I can't do that, only you can make blah blah blah. But he's like, well, let me have a look at him. And he was sick. Like he's in the advanced stages of diabetes. The vet said he'd need to take a blood test, but he pretty much confirmed it just by looking at him. He had all the symptoms, and he also said he had arthritis in his back legs. So he was in a bit of pain. So I took him in, and I asked you guys: have either any of you guys ever put down a pet? Like been in the room to put down the pet?
Yes. I cried hysterically for about 2 hours afterwards, and it's one of the worst moments of my life. It's something that scars you as a human being, and it sucks. It's losing a member of the family. And if you don't feel that way about your pets, then you don't deserve to have pets, in my fucking opinion.
Agreed.
Here's my first fuck of the night. Fuck.
I tried to prepare myself because I had never done it before, and I'm not going to get into the details because it's a very calming process, and they're very good with the animals, and they're very professional what they do. It's just the whole emotional aspect of it was something that I tried to prepare myself for, but I just wasn't expecting what was going to happen. And just like you, Brasky, I bawled. Like I was in there just bawling my eyes out. And once it was done, they said I could spend some time. I was like, no, I'm just going to go. I left right away. And when I pulled up in my driveway, my kids had just got home with my wife, so they were outside, and so they came running up to me, and they were asking, "Where's Stinker?" And I was like, "Stinker didn't come home, guys." And of course, that just set off an environment in the house that was horrible for the night, and we had to take care of the kids, and me and my wife were very upset. But Stinker's in a better place now, and one of my sons was crying, and he was asking about heaven, and we'll get to you in a second there, Reverend Jay, talking about heaven. And we told him that he was in kitty heaven, and my son just looks at me and he goes, "What if somebody's being mean to him right now?" And I was like, "My God, that just broke my heart that you said that," right? So, and my wife as well, we talked about it today, actually, and how just he's very sensitive. And so Stinker's gone, and I miss Stinker, as you can tell, because I've been rambling on for the last 4 minutes about Stinker. But I miss him, and he was a good cat, and he was my cat, and our cat, and I'm gonna miss him, and it really hurt to see him go. So I'll pass it over to the Reverend Jay. Thanks for being on the show tonight. It's good to have you. And
before we do,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Reverend Jay, interrupt here. We're dedicating this episode to Stinker. Okay, this one's for you, buddy. We love you. Liarz family misses you. You sound like you were an amazing cat. And Reverend Jay, we want to talk to you and hear this out. But Reverend Jay, could you please lead us and our audience, in a moment of prayer for Stinker, please?
All right, everybody, please bow your heads, close your eyes. In a moment of remembrance for our friend Liarz, sacred departed cat Stinker. While we may lose our loved ones to the Lord, they are never truly gone, as long as we keep them in our hearts and in our minds. And all the memories you have of Stinker will never be gone, as long as you are here and whoever he touched remembers Stinker. So, Lord above, or whoever, Lord, you subscribe to, take care of Stinker and bless our friend Liarz. Put your hand on his shoulder, heal his heart, and let him move on every day with the memory in his heart. Amen.
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 Hey, Liarz.
Yeah, man.
Do me a favor, buddy. I don't want you and your family eating any Chinese food for like the next month. It's not worth the risk, buddy. Don't risk it.
It's probably a good idea. Chinese food ban in the Liarz household in effect starting now.
Just give it a month. Give it a month. All right. You want to tell us why, instead of the wonderful prayer that Reverend Jay led us in a memoriam, do you want to now transition over to Reverend Jay, and we'll get going with Reverend Jay this evening?
All right. So I'm here for a reason. I had to come in at this point of time because I heard something you guys talk about on the last one that really just made me think some of y'all need Jesus. You can fill me in on this because I died and I just was like, what? And there was something about an underwater incident about a gummer and an elderly lady.
I believe that's directed at Mr. Wasted, yeah.
Yeah, but hold on. I don't know why the Lord would have to intervene with that. That was a moment of pleasure for both people involved. I mean, Wasted, he had, I had the time of my life cranking in the background as he was getting serviced in a fucking, in a hot tub. I mean, it's very Charlie Sheen, very Mel Gibson of him. I don't know why you would feel you need to intervene on that, but Wasted. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. She kind of forced me into it.
Oh.
But it's not like I'm 17 and she's 75 or something.
It was just like I wanted to pray for you because of the slurping noises. I'm sure that had to endure, and like it must have been painful to hear. And I don't know. There was a whole lot of questions I had.
But how would he hear slurping noises if she was underwater, my friend?
He has good hearing. I heard he has good hearing.
Was he fucking Aquaman?
Maybe he has like
Aqua
scuba
fuck.
Steve thing going on, you know? A snorkel, put it under the water instead of above it.
But as I remember, her head was just moving around on the surface a lot.
I mean, listen, Wasted watches Cocoon, and he gets a hard on. So he had to act on that and figure a way to do it. And, you know, this obviously Asian lady found him very attractive at the swinger spa retreat, whatever the fuck it is in Taiwan. And, you know, she made a move on Wasted, and Wasted as a gentleman let her, you know, take care of it. I don't know why you feel that he needed Jesus for that.
The Lord gave us a penis, and he does work in mysterious ways. So it's right on that one.
I mean, we have no idea what medical conditions this elderly lady suffers from. I mean, a lot of times older senior citizens, my friend, they have protein deficiencies. Wasted might have helped her in her daily life of giving her some extra protein that day.
I'll say, can I get an amen on that one?
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Well,
Now, Reverend Jay,
Hello.
you are actually an ordained minister.
I am a legally ordained minister with the Universal Life Church. Very legal. I actually sent you the proof of it. I sent you the proof, not bullshit.
You did show that to me, that document.
oh,
came in.
liars.
Yes, sir.
I know someone else who's an ordained minister, and I believe from the same congregation. That would have been Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, yes, I was going to get to that. We have some very famous celebrities in our group. We have one Ian McKellen, you know, Gandalf. He is in our thing.
Yeah.
We have Lady Gaga. She is ordained as well.
Wow.
And the Rock. And the Rock. Believe it or not, the Rock is ordained in our church. So it's a good club to be in.
I think the lead singer of the Killers is also ordained minister.
So this is obviously something that celebrities jump on board. So there's got to be a benefit to it. So what are some of the benefits of being an ordained minister, Reverend Jay?
It makes for good party tricks, my friend.
Let's say, shits and giggles, I'm not married, I'm a single guy. We are at a party, and I'm drunk with somebody of the opposite sex, and we're joking around, and we ask you to marry us. Is that legally binding?
Uh-huh.
Wait a second.
Well,
How would that
my
be legally binding? Because then I have clear sound in mind. They're drunk. What kind of horse shit fucking thing are you running here, pal?
That's like a loose Vegas rules thing going on right there.
Loose Vegas.
Can it be like common law in the UK? If you live together a certain amount of time, you're classed as man and wife.
It's the same in Canada, yeah.
In the United
Don't you
States,
get
it's a
tax
lot
breaks
looser.
as well?
It's a lot looser down in the States with this whole thing. But up here where we are in Canada, our registry system is pretty much fucking retarded because you have to, there's only a certain amount of ministers that are allowed to actually marry people up here, and you have to get on a waiting list, and it's actually pretty freaking ridiculous.
Go ahead, Wasted.
Did you see that story about the guy in Kazakhstan who was gonna marry his wife, and the reason she was marrying him because he got like 10 goats, so she wanted to marry him, and then she met with the guy who sold him the 10 goats, and he was like a sort of shepherd, and he had like 100 goats, and on the wedding day she ran off with him because he had more goats than the guy she was marrying. That was in Kazakhstan.
This
That's
recently?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This all comes down to how many goats you've got.
Wow.
That could translate to anywhere in the world, that story, to just different cultures.
Goats are like currency.
So,
Goats there and Corvettes in America, right?
how does the saying go? You marry the first time for money, the second time for love?
And the third time for goats?
Listen, I'm not going to have you guys disparage Ragnar on here, okay? You guys have already gone way offline. I get in here and I'm expecting this to be a good-natured conversation, and now we're already insulting people and their love for goats.
Who's in the 7-Eleven?
That's me.
They got Slurpees there?
Not in this one, but they did arrive the other day, a few weeks ago, and I made a pilgrimage across the city to the new Slurpee machine. But the 7-Eleven's everywhere.
Not all 7-Elevens there have Slurpee machines?
No, this one doesn't. That one doesn't. But I noticed I was walking across the city and I went to another 7-Eleven. They had one. And so I went. So the next day I went back, and they're always, and sometimes they're really out of order. You know, they've got a sign on them saying they're out of order because they're a bit like the sort of McFlurry machine in McDonald's.
The
They always
McFlurry
seem to be
machines,
out of
yeah, I
order.
was going to say. But they sell beer, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, they all sell beer. They sell so much beer.
So wait a second, Liarz, we've done well over 100 shows together. We've wasted.
Yeah.
And you just asked the 7-Eleven sell beer. I mean, what are we doing here tonight?
No. I didn't ask. I was just verifying because this is news that not all Slurpee machines in Taiwan have not all 7-Elevens have Slurpee machines in Taiwan. I mean, that's definitely news. Like when Slurpees are synonymous with 7-Eleven. Am I wrong? I mean, that's when you think of 7-Eleven, that's what you think of is the Slurpees, right?
Yeah, but that's just here in North America, buddy. The 7-Eleven over in Asia is completely different. The Japanese bought out 7-Eleven, wasted a decade or two ago, and Wasted's gone in great length and detail about how the 7-Elevens over there are, like your fancy kind of grocery / hot food stores. Like it's a different animal, and Wasted's gone into great length and detail regarding this. Wasted, am I correct?
Yeah, they sell like fish balls on sticks as well, like spicy fish balls, and kind of like they have this kind of trough center next to the hot dog rollers. So they sell hot dogs, and they sell these like buckets of kind of processed seafood as well, like hot food. And there's a big like row of like bento boxes, rice boxes.
Yeah.
So you can
You've told us all this before, Wasted.
Yeah,
we're well aware.
So are those the equivalent to like the nachos we have over here at 2 a.m. when you're drunk and you're eating them? Is that what they have over there?
Bento boxes?
They have similar things, but they don't like nachos. They don't really like. Well, this is Taiwan, so yeah, they've got Doritos, but yeah, Chinese people are not really into like nachos that much. Only at the cinema, at the movie theater. But yeah, they don't have the cheesy nachos. I think they've got more of the American stuff in America, and here they like cater. There's all kinds of they have the onigiri razu or whatever, the rice seaweed sandwich, which has got like teriyaki chicken in the middle, and it's just instead of like sushi where they roll it, they just fold it over, and it's like a sandwich. It's Japanese. It's basically a rice seafood on the outside. Inside, it's like chicken or pork. So they've got a range of these like kind of sushi. 7-Eleven sushi. That's a risk to take.
Well, now I'm just saying like we're a paid sponsor for 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, if you're hearing us, you might as well start sending us some checks. Now, I want to go back to Liarz and Reverend Jay here, because Liarz, you said that Reverend Jay reached out to you, that he heard a thing on the show, which we've talked about numerous times. We brought up on our last show just because it was, bringing up Wasted's sordid and insanity of his life, that things we've discovered why Wasted's been away, why he's disappeared from time to time. So we brought up some of the stories we've heard in the past. Now, Reverend Jay stated that he wanted to come in and confront Wasted on this and offer to have Jesus enter his soul, or for Reverend Jay to pray for him. I kind of want to know more of why he felt that was necessary, and is there anything else that was really striking him that he felt that he needed to do? Like, what is it that was the objective for Mr. Wasted here? Like, I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, it was just to make sure that Wasted knew that the good Lord was on his side when things were going down underwater, and to keep on doing it and just pray to God that it feels good every time, my man. Just go with it. Just go with it.
Yeah, I'm not forcing anybody to do anything.
Reverend Jay, you mentioned that you're an ordained minister. So how long have you been the ordained minister, sir?
It's 7 years now, sir. 7 years.
What prompted you to go, today's the day that I'm going to go become a minister? What in your mind said, this is something I want to do with my life? What brought you to the cause?
I'm sure I was on the internet looking at porn, and something popped up about church, and then they just said sign up and become ordained, and I thought, okay, well it'll give me some solace in my dirty habits, and Jesus will forgive me if I do this. So it was kind of that. It was out of necessity.
Now, did you finish watching the porn first and then go in to read about this, or did you immediately stop watching your pornography and then went over, found out the information, I become a minister? Or did you just continue until you came to your conclusion, your ending?
I definitely felt guilty, took a break, went over, did the whole thing, got back on the horse, and finished my business. Felt great about myself. Felt even better about myself than I did before.
Have you ever married a porn star? You know, like 2 porn stars married, you know, as a minister?
Oh, I have had sex with girls that scream like ones, yeah.
No, I mean, as a minister, have you married any porn
Oh,
stars?
have I married any porn stars?
No, I don't mean like you marrying the porn star. That might be a mistake.
Do they even
Well,
have porn stars in Canada? I don't even know if they do. Like, I don't think I've
They
ever
do.
seen a Canadian pornography. You do?
Montreal has.
Well, Montreal doesn't really count. That's pretty much like, you know, the whore capital of the world instead of Amsterdam.
On Trailer Park Boys, they were making a porn, weren't they?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Ricky and his girl weren't they?
Yeah, they had one of those trailers and they were trying to shoot a porn and they got busted.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's true. That's where the best porn is made in Canada, is in trailers.
So you guys specialize in trailer park porn in Canada. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so.
Okay. Now, I imagine this is more normal porn than you're finding right now, because like I don't even look at the stuff anymore, because last time I clicked onto any of those sites long ago, it was all like the front page was all a bunch of weird shit that I didn't want to see. It was all like, hey, look, and then there's like some fucking tranny, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is the front page. It's just disturbing to me now. It's not the same enjoyment, and now it's also, you know, it's not like the good old days where you go into your fucking Blockbuster, or not your Blockbuster, but the video store that wasn't Blockbuster that had the room in the back where they had those VHS tape.
Yeah,
so those days are gone. So, so you
as
mentioned.
A child. Go ahead, Brasky. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Liarz. If you have a story, please. You know,
no.
This is a show tonight about nothing except your cat, which, R.I.P. Stinker. Since we're talking about stinkers and now we're talking about porn, I mean, it really, they coexist in the same world.
Did you guys ever try and like, because getting in as a kid in the movie store, we're all old enough to remember this. So as a kid in the movie store, it was always like, it was like such forbidden territory to go into that little porno room, and you tried to sneak in every time, and once you got in, it was like heaven, right? Because you're like just surrounded by smut.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever get busted by like the store clerks?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm lucky that I grew up in a time where, you know, I'm younger than you because you guys are old bastards. I'm a good almost 10 years younger. So when I was around, we started having this thing called like the Spice Channel, and like there's fucking always somebody's brother or somebody's father always had like VHSs lying around, or you can even just get them like you can go to like FYE and get like softcore, you know, DVDs, and they're like, you know, they shouldn't let you buy them, but you know, they didn't give a shit.
Now,
did you guys have the stations, like, whatever it was, where it was kind of blurry on the TV? You could kind of get it, and you could kind of see some shit.
Scrambled
we had
porn.
Skinamax, buddy. It was even better than that. We just, you know, you wait, if you're a kid, you know, back in the 90s, you're like, all right, well, I know for like a fucking 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, we're about to see some fucking, you know, horrible jazz music in the background and some big giant titted broad just, you know, there's been a murder. Oh, really? Oh, fuck, what's going to happen next?
Did you ever have those videos? They were videos, but it wasn't a video ATM. I remember when one of those came in our neighborhood. You know, you could go up to it like an ATM, and you had a card. And you put it in, and it had like a limited selection of movies, and then it also had like softcore porn. So
Redbox, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It
didn't last long.
No,
it didn't last long in the UK because nobody used them. But yeah, it did have like a porn section, so you didn't have to deal with anybody. You could just get these like movies quite easily.
Wasted. I feel like when I think about you in your youth, I think it's more like something like out of the fucking Zodiac David Fincher movie, where you're like watching fucking porn reels on like film with a fucking projector screen.
You do watch things on Betamax, and VHS, in a dark room. But yeah, did you ever get conned by Harvey Weinstein? Because I remember like Miramax, the way they marketed all their movies, like they took all these like European movies and they marketed them with like as porn movies. Remember the thief, his wife, and his lover, where it's all on the front page, on the cover, it's all like naked. It's like naked chicks that like Weinstein and his brother put on the cover to sell the movie. When you watched it, it was like a European art movie about eating humans, like cannibalism or something. Like, don't you remember that? Like all the Miramax movies that they built the sort of big company on, the way they marketed all those European movies was like as porn movies. I don't know. Did you ever go in for something? And also like something like Poison Ivy, like Drew Barrymore. That was my kind of porn.
What's her face? Alyssa Milano did one. Interview with the Vampire. Yeah, that was a good one.
Embrace of the Vampire, and we've
Embrace of the Vampire. Yes.
Yeah.
We are literally fucking retreading topics tonight. We're like Guns N' Roses. We're just fucking like putting a new spin on a remix. I hate you.
We've never talked about Embrace of the Vampire.
Well, we have talked about Embrace of the Vampire. You in great detail have gone over about Alyssa Milano's tits in that movie, sir. I will fucking, if you make me go through all the goddamn audio of the old fat cast to pull this shit up, I fucking will find it, okay? We've talked about all these wonderful things. We've talked about wild things. We've talked about, Denise Richards' tits and Nev Campbell in that movie. We've gone over. We've beaten this to death. I'm trying to find new and interesting topics instead of returning. But this is what happens with nostalgia. You start thinking about the old things again. You repeat yourselves because you don't want to live in the massive shithole society we live in now. Good Lord. Reverend Jay, you mentioned... Well, I wanted to get back to Reverend Jay for a second because we have a guest, and I like to focus a little bit on him. So what I want to focus on right now is, one, we know he's a reverend. We know he's been a reverend for 7 years. He's mentioned already that he's banged these dirty whores that scream like porn stars. Now, Reverend Jay, do you reside in a trailer yourself?
I actually do, sir. Right now, I am coming to you live from my holy trailer.
Okay, so it's a holy trailer, and he's bringing over women. Now, tell us a little bit about this. When you meet these said women, and you tell them the first off, do you tell them that you're a reverend, or do you save that for later in the conversation?
It does go a long way. The ladies, they like rolling with it. They like rolling with it.
So that's a turn on for them. The fact that you're, an ordained minister. Now that you're a reverend, are you a reverend specifically in any religion? Because you're part of the universal church, which that's not recognized, to my understanding, by Christianity, Judaism, Muslimism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, or Islamism. What is it that you're a reverend in? Do you have any specific?
In just life, my friend. I think I'm open to every aspect, and our universal thing is we accept every single person's views and every single person's things, and we can work around that, and we can just have a good fucking time, my friend, with it. Okay.
All right. So, being a reverend, living in a trailer, which I'm not shitting on you at all for living in a trailer. Some of the finest people I've ever seen on television have lived in a trailer, sir. So, trust me, it might be where we're all heading to one of these days anyways, if we're lucky even to get trailers, okay? We might not even get those.
I'm ready to go at a moment's notice when the bombs start coming.
Well, get ready, because things don't look that great anymore in the world. The world's gone nuts. But what interesting, like you said, you've listened to the show, which thank you. We appreciate our listeners. We got a mention the other day in the comment section by one of my favorite guests of all time, who made the Izzy documentary, our good friend Graham. And we're hoping to have Graham back on here soon. We're going to be having Franz on here soon to discuss soccer stories, or football as those dirty fucking non-Americans call it, with Wasted, and they have some great stories packed up. But you were a listener to the show, so what do you know about the show?
I know that you guys like each other sometimes, and sometimes you like each other, and then there's needing Jesus, and that's why I'm here.
Sometimes we like each other.
I think we like each other all the time. I
don't know about that anymore.
Uh-oh. Open up a can of worms, shit.
You dirty Canadian bass. What are you saying about me and Wasted behind our backs?
Nothing.
I was just wondering if there's anything else that I've done. Like, if you've listened to the show, is there anything I've done that's worse than the blowjob in the hot tub?
Oh, my friend,
a lot of things you've done worse that you're not going to tell anybody until you die, and then you're going to meet
Reverend Jay.
Knows.
Are you familiar with the lampshade or the why?
Oh boy, are we going to greatest hits?
Are you familiar with these or no? Because the hot tub by far is like one of the tamest things Wasted's done.
That was charity work.
That's the recently thing I caught. What is going on?
The lampshade is very early on in this show. I don't even think. I think I was still a guest on the show when Wasted was talking about the lampshade, wasn't I?
Oh, now what was going on with the lampshade, Wasted?
You don't know about the lampshade. I mean, good Lord. I mean, do not enough people know about the lampshade?
Did you murder someone?
No, it's a sort of establishing dominance.
Oh my God, dominance in a lampshade! I'm all in on this porn story.
You think you are, but wait. he fought the fucking hot tub with an elderly lady blowing him with something. You ever even heard about the Y story or the fucking the lampshade? Wasted? Why don't you tell him about your lampshade? Which, by the way, Wasted, if you ever do leave Taiwan, the lampshade's coming, right? I mean, you can't leave the lampshade behind. That'd just be wrong.
Yeah, I think what I was saying is that, there's somebody behind me on the ATM.
Oh, please tell the story then.
The cash is coming out of the machine.
Well, didn't you just say there was ATMs about porn or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If he tells this lampshade story in public right now, we might get to hear a bunch of fucking sirens in the background. I'm
getting a message from the good Lord to tell you to do it.
It's not that interesting. It's just, I was saying that, I think they were talking about, like, meeting people or, finding girlfriends and things. And I was sort of saying that it's difficult because, the things that I want to do is when I come, I want to have no eye contact and I want to be looking at a lampshade. So no contact, complete dominance. And then you'd actually skin the body and then make them into a lampshade. So there's not many people signing up for that.
So you're looking at your victims while you're fucking another one?
No, you're looking at the lampshade while you're fucking them.
But if you skin your victim and put it on the lampshade, the next girl you're looking at the last girl you fuck.
Yeah, you have a collection.
So you got a whole bunch
like a family business.
So dark.
A circle of lamps.
Yeah. So, anybody, when you introduce yourself as an ordained minister, I always ask them if they like lampshades.
I'm celibate. I don't know.
But how does that rack up next to the hot tub?
That's disturbing, my friend. But
Yeah, but which one's worse?
For different folks.
So which they're very different stories. I don't know.
Yeah.
If we can actually compare the two. One's very funny and one's very dark.
He's spoken about the lampshade with no other human being involved. That, he likes to teach the lampshade a lesson. He likes, for it to not look at him when he's doing his business. He has this real deep infatuation and relationship with the lampshade. That is, it's something that those two have special.
Were you sad when there was no lampshade while you were getting an underwater gummer?
Oh, there was actually a couple of Japanese lampshades in the corner, but not the kind of the ones that I make, more like lanterns. But yeah, what I was trying to say is I sort of moved past actual physical bodies onto just lampshades. So I didn't really need somebody in the room. I just needed a lampshade.
So Reverend Jay, you're not learning more about Wasted, and so far, how many of our shows have you listened to? Are you a new listener?
I've been trying to listen pretty much since you guys started, bits and pieces of them as much as I can.
Okay. Well, the show's been going on now. We had a rebranding because I didn't like the name of the show, but we've been going for we've been going for 2 years, boys. So we've been going now for a bit, and on the show we've gone many stories. But what we really like to do is when we have a guest, we like to learn about our guests. Now, Reverend Jay, we know you're a reverend. We know you live in a trailer park, or in a trailer. Might not be a park, sir. What else about you is interesting? What stories, what fun events have happened in your life that really speak out?
Well, let me tell you about when I was a younger man. This one's a good one. We're going to go back to being, a little underage and the porn and the sex and that kind of shit, right? So in 1994,
calm down, miser.
Called ZZ Top came to our city, right? Well, everyone's kind of heard of ZZ Top, right? And I was an underage young man, and I went with my friend to the concert. We had a good time, and here in town we used to have a strip club called the French Maid, and it was downtown. And me and my friend, we decided we're going to go and try and get into this strip club after the concert. Sure as shit, we get in there. I'm young, I don't know, 16 or 17, highly underage to go into a strip club. So we go in there, and we go over to the pool table, and the opening band is fucking in there, playing fucking pool. And they're like, they knew what was up, because they're like, oh, these kids fucking got in. Let's fucking go, right? So we get in there, we start playing pool with the opening band that just played ZZ Top, right? Fucking having a good old time. Underage in a strip club. I go outside for a cigarette. The fucking tour buses roll up of fucking ZZ Top. I'm like, holy fucking shit. I go back in. I talk to my buddy. I'm like, dude, fucking they're coming in. He's like, who? I'm like, fucking ZZ Top is coming in here. We're underage in a strip club, my friend. and ZZ Top's coming in to this fucking strip club. How fucking cool is that, right? So we're in there, we're playing pool with the opening man. They come in, they sit down really close to us, and fucking Billy Gibbons, he looks over at me, he says, "Come here." I fucking went over. I'm like, "Holy shit, Ray." He goes, "How old are you?" I said, like 16 or 17. He goes, "That's fucking awesome, man. Let's have a beer." So he had a fucking beer with me, and then they kind of like shoot us off to the back playing pool. But fucking underage in a bar drinking with fucking ZZ Top. Come on, man. That's fucking cool, right?
I love beer.
I love beer and fucking strippers.
As a minister.
As a
How does
fucking
that- how does that work out?
minister.
Do you remember what the opening band was?
The Ian Moore Band. I remember him.
For those who don't know, the French Maid was a strip club around here, and man, was it fucking seedy. Like, we're not talking about a high-end strip club here. We're talking about one step up from crackheads with
Trailer park
C-section scars. Yeah.
But
yeah,
Liarz,
like-
aren't those the best? I mean,
No,
honestly,
absolutely.
if you're gonna look for a strip club, hey, I don't want to fucking go into a strip club and it look like a 5-star hotel. I want it to be everyone smoking cigarettes. I want it to be like the stripper looks like she just got off whatever drug she's on, or she's currently on them. I at least want to see like one of the strippers has a coke problem. That there's probably some seedy shit going down in the background, and I want really, really bad fucking boomer rock on. Am I right?
Oh, yeah, like she shot a kid out a week ago, and she's back up on that stage like a trooper.
Absolutely. Like, absolutely. You go to the places in Vegas, like, is it called the Spearmint Rhino? Or Amsterdam Rhino? I forget what it's called in Vegas. And they're all high-end strip clubs, and everyone's all classy and shit, and there's, the table service with, what's that? With Hennessy and the champagne that some rich people drink. But anyway, I'd much rather go to a place where what we just described as opposed to something like that. I agree with you 100%, Brasky. Now keep this in mind too. I am from the land of strip clubs. When you used to walk down St. Catherine Street, I don't know how it is anymore, but St. Catherine Street or Saint Laurent Boulevard, it was just strip club after strip club in Montreal, and it was anything goes there, man, and the seedier the better. But it was all run by organized crime, so you knew not to fuck around because you'll end up in the alley with a boot up your ass, right?
No, there's a helpful hint and tip to the audience that if you find a strip club adjacent to a truck stop, you're probably in store for a good time.
So we have like a fair that comes through town every year, and it's labeled as the greatest show on earth. It attracts millions of people, literally, and world renowned for the levels of debauchery last week the greatest show on earth came through town, and a couple of friends were downtown at the Sandman Hotel. They were doing some work in there, and there was a French girl there, and there was another English-speaking girl there, and they were both dressed very nicely, and they were both checking into the hotel, and my buddy was listening to them talk, and they were prostitutes that had come into the city to get work, because that's how much money there is in the city for this 10 days that prostitutes fly in, and apparently, according to him, they were probably tens. He said, like, in definite like tens, like these girls were high-end prostitutes that attracting the clientele of the Cowboys in the greatest show on earth. So. Just another story to tell, boys.
Right now in the States, because of all the massive amounts of illegal migrants we got in the major cities, it's like New York City itself has once again become just like it was in the 70s and 80s, where you literally have street whores all day long, 24 hours a day offering their services. Now, granted, they probably have AIDS, syphilis, herpes, hepatitis, all those magical, wonderful things. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Probably have corona too, but that doesn't matter nowadays because, you can have Chinese flu and it doesn't matter. They're welcome over the border. Nope, we're not testing. Come on over. You got AIDS? Oh, that's great. It's going to help the fatties lose weight. Come on in. It's better than Ozempic. But fucking New York City's gone to complete hellhole. I mean, it's like, I believe I've said this a few episodes ago, but it's like Escape from fucking New York again. It's the Warriors. It's fucking outrageous. So I'm expecting up in Canada here sooner rather than later because, we're running out of room for them here, so we got to send them north. And, you guys got Trudeau up there who just, God, he loves them. He fucking loves them. So enjoy being replaced by the third world countries of South America, because they're coming up your way. So when you boys are up in Western Canada here, and you guys got a bunch of El Salvadorians, some MS-13, some dirty whores walking your streets, right next to the Flames game or next to the Stampede, just remember, Trudeau did that for you because he loves you.
I think we have an advantage up here, though. I think a lot of them turn their ass around once it hits October, November, and they're from way down south, and they're like, what the fuck is this? I'm going back because it's way too fucking cold.
It does get cold.
We thought we had that going here, too, with New York City and Chicago being really fucking cold in the wintertime, because Chicago gets freezing, but they fucking adapt, buddy. The free housing alone, they're good. They're going to figure a way up there.
Free housing will get you a long way. You'll put up with a lot for free housing.
Absolutely. No shit, right? All right. So, Reverend Jay, you're an interesting character. I will say that. Is your profession itself? No, I don't want you to dox yourself. You don't gotta be like, oh yeah, I worked down at the fucking hardware store. Just be, generalized. We don't want anyone coming to find you, Reverend Jay. So what I'm gonna ask is, what do you do for a profession in your work?
I take stuff, I load it in a vehicle, I drive it, I drop it somewhere. That's pretty much.
So you're a drug mule.
Yeah. I like all the modern stuff. The cokes and the heroines, and kids love that stuff.
The kids do love it. They listen to some fucking Velvet Underground. They just get going. But
I have little cards on them that say Jesus saves, and I hand them a little dime bag, and they're good to go. I feel good about myself.
I don't think Jesus would want that. Reverend Jay, I'm not trying to call you out on here, but I think Jesus doesn't. I think Jesus wants to spread love and clean living, and he wants you to get high off the general good nature of being human and kindness and empathy to others, not from the drugs.
But I'll let you in on a little secret that nobody's ever told you about our friend Jesus. He didn't get put on the cross because he was God's son. He owed some money. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened.
Why would Jesus owe money, sir? I mean, he can make water out of wine or water into wine. He was a carpenter by trade? It seems like he had a solid income if he needed one. Also, being the son of God, I'm pretty sure he didn't need any cash. It doesn't make much sense to me today.
What about Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, we won't get into the rapey part, but back then, midlife then was about 25. And when you're midlife man, you get a little, you lose a little bit of your mojo. So he lost a lot of his mojo, and he had a little limp incidences, and he had to do what he had to do.
Yeah, I disagree with that. You're besmirching a good name of my Lord and Savior. Well, shame on you, sir. Shame.
It's one of those things they don't teach you, but I've learned in the Universal Life Church. I've been messaged with a few things I did not know about, and it could be true, it cannot be true. I'm just spreading.
Yeah, but look who you mentioned who's in the Universal Life Church. Do I really want to be taking advice from fucking Lady Gaga? Who's the other jerk offs you said that were in the church? I know. Who else? You said Ian McClellan.
What the Rock is cooking? You smell what the Rock is cooking?
The Rock's full of shit.
I agree, most of the time.
He makes horrible movies. I just saw a new trailer for a movie called Red Notice where it's like, oh yeah, look, Santa Claus. It looks like the fucking movie out of Scrooge with Lee Majors in it back in the day. If you ever watch the movie Scrooge, Bill Murray, great holiday movie. Everyone loves that movie. Great movie. In that movie, they have a parody of a movie they're making with Lee Majors starring as like Santa Claus, fucking, shooting a bunch of terrorists that are coming to get him in the North Pole. Now, The Rock himself is a fucking jerk-off and hasn't made a good movie in a long time. And now he's making this new movie called, like, Red Notice or something like that. It looks fucking absolutely retarded. It's going to bomb so bad. So you're listening to heathens like The Rock and Lady Gaga tell you about our Lord and Savior Jesus like that? Good Lord, Reverend Jay. Good Lord.
I'm open to a lot of views, my friend. I'm open. I take in everybody's little bit of thing. They're going to tell me, and I digest it well. That's what a good reverend does. He listens.
I know. You seem like you come up with some thought processes here, and that's it's just not spreading the word of love and respect. That's all I'm saying. But Liarz, we got AMAs to get to tonight. I know you got those ready to pop and get them rolling. So we'll get those going. Then later on, we got Wasted's Wild Stories, which Wasted always finds these incredibly weird and fucking insane stories on the internet, and then tells us about them. We react. So. Just because we're like every other shit podcast where we just going to regurgitate the shit we find online. We'll do that for you later. But right now we got our AMA, so Liarz, take us away if you're ready.
Absolutely. I got them up here in front of me. The Linguini. First off, badapplesforum.com. There's a section there for the Fatcast. Pardon me. Shit Radio. AMAs. The Linguini occurrence has one this week. This is going to rank in probably my top 3 questions of all time. This is hilarious. I will put a picture up of this man and his wife into the show so everybody knows who we're talking about. But the man's name is Josh Bowling, and he's married to she's kind of like the Siamese twins, but they only have 2 heads, so it's this one body, and she's got 2 heads. When you see the picture of the girl, you'll know exactly who we're talking about. And the Linguini occurrence asks, when Josh Bowling bangs his wife, is it technically considered a threesome? And what happens if Abby consents but Brittany doesn't? Let's throw it over to... Yes.
Before we throw it over anywhere, I'm having the weirdest deja vu with this, because I could have swore maybe like a year or 2 ago we talked about this exact same things. I could have swore Wasted brought it up to us with the twins marrying a guy. Like, I'm telling you, dude, I had the weirdest deja vu reading that question. I'm like, did we not have a topic about this at one point?
Didn't we talk about remember the girl with the three tits?
Wait a second. The conjoined twin Abby Herschel got married in 2021 wedding ceremony. I could have swore we actually talked about them. Yeah, dude.
Really? I don't remember talking about this, and I remember laughing. I read this shortly after I had put Stinker down, so I was in a pretty bad headspace, and I remember laughing out loud when I read this question because I thought it was just absolutely hilarious. So I don't remember doing anything on it. If we did, it just goes with the theme of the show, I guess, because we're doing a lot of regurgitation and reflection today.
Yeah, dude, I'm reading about this now. It says they were married in 2021, but made public record until March 2024. But I could have swore this was a topic that Wasted brought up to us back in the day, and we busted balls on it for a little bit. Wasted, does that sound familiar to you at all? I'm asking the alcoholic. That's always a great idea. Wasted?
Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck.
You ate some sushi from 7-Eleven again.
Yeah, so, no, we'll wait for Wasted to come back, because I could have swore this was a topic that Wasted back in the day brought up to us. And it's a good topic. We'll give a quick idea on it right now, but I can remember doing a show where Wasted is typing. Okay, so Wasted, my mic is not working. Did you mute it? Okay, no, he's typing things. Wasted. I don't think he's typing in his stories as we try to record, because Wasted just... God damn it, Wasted. Wasted. Son of a bitch.
Well, we can move on to the next question.
No. Well, I want to, listen, here's a fun thing about our show, and I think this is what makes our show different than the other shows. What makes our show different is that we acknowledge our fuck-ups. We're real. Like, we're doing this live on the cuff. We're not here to, make it much better. We're here to be straight up like, hey, this is what's going on. If we think we've talked about the story in the past, we'll bring it up. Wasted, are you back yet, or are you still just fucking doing your thing?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, Wasted, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, Wasted. Maybe a year or 2 ago, do you remember talking about these conjoined twins?
I think it was different conjoined twins.
How's that fucking possible?
I don't know. Maybe it's like that goblin story. That they keep repeating that story as well. Like a few years ago, like in 2021, it was the sort of the teachers in the school with the goblins, and then this year it was the police station and the goblins. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure this happened before.
You remember conjoined twin story, right?
Well, when I saw the one that we're talking about that was on recently, I was thinking about another story which was very similar, where the guy married, one of the twins, and the other head just had to be there.
Right. Yes, that's the one. Remember? Yeah,
but I think it's a different. This guy's famous.
Okay,
the other guy wasn't famous.
But the other guy I didn't know this guy was fucking famous. But the other story was something like, one of the twins got married and the other one didn't get married, so she was single.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm sure it's happened more than once in the history.
Liarz, is that ringing any bells to you?
Nothing. Absolutely drawing blanks, man.
But
I'm sorry. I'm drawing blanks.
It's fine, man. Life's been fucking crazy the last couple of years. I understand completely, but let's talk about this one. Go into detail now. I wanted to stop you a little bit because I'm like, shit, I remember this fucking story, but it obviously must be different conjoined fucking twins. I mean, what kind of, listen, you just said the circus was in town. I'm telling you right now, they must have fucking produced a lot more carnies than we think.
I don't even know why this guy married this girl/girls. They're kind of weird looking, and they're kind of like,
because he's a pervert, and you imagine what you can do with two of them at the same time.
That brings it to the question. So the question again, once again, from the Linguini occurrence, thank you very much. When Josh Bowling bangs his wife, is it technically considered a threesome? And what happens if Abby consents but Brittany doesn't?
Well, you just tell her to look at the lampshade, and it's all good.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, turn the other cheek.
I think it's like a Doublemint commercial. Double your pleasure, double your fun. I mean, the blowjobs must be fantastic and incredible.
Who gets it in the mouth? You flip a coin?
It's like more like a double header than anything else.
It's like a two-headed monster. I don't.
Wait, so this would be up your alley. Have any of us on here? Maybe Reverend Jay. I don't know, because this might be something he'd be into. I don't know. If you are Reverend Jay, chime in. But Wasted, you'd be the one out of any of us that I could see pulling some shit like this. Like, hey boys, I'm getting married. You flying out? We're like, okay, what's going on? Who's the lucky lady? And then you telling us, oh no, she's a conjoined twin.
The closest I can think of is when I was like doing direct sales. You go door to door, and you just like get in a rhythm of like, you've got your like pitch, and you just go door to door. Everybody says no and tells you to, get off my land, not interested. But you just got this pattern worked out. So you're on autopilot. And once the girl that came to the door, she was like mentally handicapped, but I didn't notice. So I sold her, like, I changed over a gas bill. I just told her what to do. You go to the back of the kitchen, get you the number off the gas meter, and then sign here, and then we'll give you a cheaper bill. So, and then I got suspended from work under investigation.
Just for karma in this, did you actually lower her gas bill?
Yeah, I mean, it was like a 20p or £1.20 a year from changing from one company to another.
You did something good. You did something good for her. So don't feel bad.
Her dad was very angry, and I went back to apologize.
How did that go over, Wasted?
Not well.
Give us a little more detail.
It didn't help. I think he was yelling at me before I even like got to the door, really.
But did you mention to him that you saved their money?
I tried to explain, because I was trying to save my job. I don't know why, because who wants to do that job? But, I just didn't want to get like in trouble with the police, I think. But it was a genuine mistake. I was just on autopilot, and I had my pitch flowing, and I didn't really look at her, and I had my the yes questions and everything lined up, and she totally fell for it. One of my greatest sales.
Were the signs apparent though? Like, if you looked at this with a clear perspective, would you have known? Like, how would you have known? Like, is this one of those things like after you went in there, like, oh god, yeah.
She looked kind of like she was kind of fat and she had glasses, but you wouldn't really tell if you to look at her, But it's when she spoke,
Was she a little?
But wouldn't that be discrimination if you didn't offer to save her money? Wouldn't you be discriminating against her? Like, if this is a thing that actually saved their money, then wouldn't it be discrimination not to offer her that service?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I love it. I don't know how they. Yeah, well, that's when you leave and they've told you to fuck off. Which is what most people do in the rougher neighborhoods, even though they could actually get a cheaper bill by switching companies. You're talking like maybe 10, it could be like between $1 and $10 or whatever over the year. But I mean, the last thing you say is you don't want to have cheaper gas. You're going to keep all the pipes, yeah, and the gas is going to come from the same place, but you're basically just getting billed by a different company. Like, why wouldn't you want cheaper gas? Don't you want to save money? It's
I love how we went from conjoined twins to gas. That's fantastic.
They probably have
if
problems.
If she fart, who do you blame, right? Like, which head do you blame if she farts?
Yeah, they can both sort of ignore it. State whoever smelt it dealt it.
It's a compelling argument that you make there, Wasted. Now, again, I got this picture in front of me, and I just can't. Like, nothing about this is appealing to me, and I love the question. If Abby consents and Brittany doesn't,
Yeah, but what happens if he's got two dicks?
Oh fuck! Here's a twist I didn't fucking think of.
Whoa.
Now, Liarz, let me ask you this.
He's got two balls.
Yeah,
Two balls.
What if they're having sex with her and then Bohemian Rhapsody comes on to that part, where they got a headbang? Would that throw you off?
I would imagine.
Well, if she was headbanging next to you.
Yeah, one's headbanging, one's sucking you off, and Bohemian Rhapsody's on. That'd be confusing, man.
You'd be like partied out, I think.
Liarz, my mind went somewhere else. You guys are taking it more dirty than mine usually goes, because you guys are dirty deviants. But like, if they go to the movie theater, let's say, they're going out for a couple's night, they're going to the movie theater, does she get charged double because there's two heads?
Again, like,
there's two
that's
people,
a great question.
Legally.
That's good.
There's definitely two people there.
Is there though? There's only one set of arms and one set of legs, one body.
He married one of them.
Two heads.
But he married one of them, so that means there must be two people. Otherwise, they would have said, "Oh, he's married a girl with two heads."
So then, by your logic, what defines a person is their brain?
Yeah.
So, like, they book airline tickets, they have to get 3 seats instead of 2?
Or you can save money on flight tickets. Just 1 seat, 2 heads.
Well, how? If you're saying it's 2 people, if it's 2 people to get into the movie theater, why is it only 1 seat to get on the plane?
They do
do
that, don't they? Like a mother and a child have to pay, do they?
Well, a child is free up to, like, I think 18 months.
Okay.
Liarz, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
One of them commits murder. One of them gets tired of this guy, and they decide, all right, I'm going to murder the bastard. Do they both go to prison? How does that work?
I think in that case, I think one of them is charged with murder and one of them is charged with being an accomplice, because they're both in control of that body. So they both have the ability to stab and to stop the stab, right?
So we know they're both in control of the body. Yeah, but let me ask you this. Liarz. How do we know who's in control of the hands and who's not control the hands? Like, how does 2 brains control one body?
Well, exactly. Well, see, that's another question that's brought up. So, is it really 2 people, or are they both one person sharing 2 brains?
I got a good one for you. This one will get your head. What if one of them wants to hang themselves? Do they still live?
Oh, fuck.
There you go.
They probably just lose control of, like, one leg or one hand while the other one still works.
And the other head would be limp with a neck wound, and the other one would still be alive? What the heck?
Let me ask you this. You boys live up in Canada, where they love suicide up there. They fucking have little suicide machines. So what if one of them wants to go do a fucking suicide, and the other one doesn't?
Poof. Good question.
Well, it depends how the nervous system is connected to the rest of the body. Maybe one of them is controlling the body and one is just an extra head, or it could be the other way around. Like they're controlling different parts, and they have to, like, maybe she has to control, her sister's hand. Is it her sister? Her sister's hand. Maybe they have to work together. So maybe that guy's getting really, like, 2 for 1 in a weird way.
Yeah, but what was if they, like, here's another, more normal, more realistic. What if this gentleman argues with his wife? Or what if his other wife's not involved in the argument and they're fine?
I mean, if they're seen as one person.
Well, they have 2 separate brains, buddy. They should obviously be able to have their own thought process and think. So let's just say that he gets in a fight with one of them, like not a physical fight, but a verbal, disagreement. And the wife, that one is upset with him, and the other one's not. How does that work?
Well, if he was Hunter Biden, he'd just sleep with the sister.
We're onto something here, guys. We really are. This is a philosophical path down the Sheeit Radio that we have never gone down before, and quite frankly, I'm finding it completely enthralling. And
but if you were ordering one, would you order one with 2 heads or 1? If you had a choice.
Well, I would choose a woman with 1 head.
I like that Wasted presents that you can just order women. Maybe in Taiwan you can just go into a book and go, okay, I'll pick her.
We could order sex dolls. I mean, as soon as they patent
I'm surprised you
DNA,
don't have one, Wasted.
I'm shocked if they like patent DNA, basically humans will be like GMO food. So then they can just like clone us. So we're not always going to be like special. We're going to be turned into like GMO vegetables.
I just think this opens up so many possibilities of how this is, with the 2 heads. Like it's something that I don't think I can accurately give a comment on or representation. God bless them, all 3 of them. I hope they're happy, and I don't fucking know. For me, it'd just be, no. But I think that's probably the best we can do on this topic with where it is, because it's just infinity, the amount of conversations that can spew and questions, and we're never going to have answers to this.
Just let me
you got another topic ready?
I got another question. Yeah.
AMA?
Yeah. This one I'm going to ask Wasted to take first. It involves fast food. So what's your longest fast food streak? I'm talking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Megatron, who sent this in, said he did a week-long road trip to Cali once, where every meal they ate was either Burger King or Carl's Jr. When he got home, he was sick as an AIDS patient, he said. So, Wasted, what's your streak for fast food?
Probably like 2 years. if you count processed food, because especially here, I used to just go to McDonald's for breakfast, and then I'd walk around the city, and then I'd go to Birmingham, go to Burger King for lunch, and then when I got home, I'd either order McDonald's or order Pizza Hut. So I did that was every day. Definitely. For especially during COVID, I did that. Because I was ordering all the food. I used to order two loads of McDonald's, and that was all I ate for at least like a month in COVID era.
How did you feel?
My ass was bleeding like fuck. That's what I noticed. You need fiber, I think that's the main thing I learned. You need to get some frozen mixed vegetables from somewhere and just take them into your body, or eat some bran flakes or something.
So you weren't feeling too great about it, obviously.
No. Well, the first 2 weeks were good.
Sure.
And then I was just stuck in this kind of OCD thing where I had to order. Right. I couldn't break the cycle.
What about you, Brasky? How long is your streak?
I don't really think that long. I don't know if it's more than a day.
Yeah.
It's just because, I mean, maybe a day or two. Going to work in the morning, grabbing something from, if you're going to count the coffee shop as fast food, if you get a breakfast sandwich there, and then maybe having a long day at work and just stopping off at the McDonald's to grab something on the way home because you're tired and you don't want to cook or anything. So maybe a day or two. I try not to do it that long because, obviously that shit's not great for you over long periods of time. But to be honest with you, nothing's great for you. If you actually look at what's on the back of your items you buy at the grocery store, you'll realize that it's just packed with a bunch of shit now. Nothing's really made with real ingredients anymore. They're all made with the cheapest vegetable oils or soy oils, things that you grew up on. They're this is really healthy. Not anymore, pal. Not anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe a day or two. What about you, Liarz?
Yeah, no, I'm exactly with you. I don't even think I've made it a day. I've probably done a day. I don't think I've made it past a day, I should say. I've probably done maybe 3 meals in a row where I've eaten fast food. I mean, I'm thinking back to when I definitely don't eat a lot of fast food now. In fact, it's almost non-existent when I eat fast food. So it would. Well, does pizza count as fast food?
I was just gonna ask you that, man, because now I'm like, man, with pizza, if I'm eating leftover pizza and if I ordered a shit ton of pizza, I might do that for like 3 days. So if pizza counts,
I've done that.
Gray area.
Is it a gray area?
I think if it's from a proper Italian restaurant pizza, then it's not really processed food, is it? It's got like real.
Yeah.
But there is no proper Italian restaurant.
But if it's pizza, it's fast food.
True.
I mean,
okay.
It's like trans fat.
Okay, then if we're including pizza, then it's probably a few days, probably 3 days, like Brasky said. That makes sense to me.
I mean, if you generally look at the shit that we eat, I could probably say a couple weeks at times. If you really, you just remove the McDonald's, like that type of fast food. But if you start adding in pizza or pre-made shit, or like if you go to the grocery store, get something from like the hot section, it could be a week or two, maybe a couple weeks, just depending. Not anymore, obviously, not with the cost of groceries now. Now everything is, you fucking buy it, you cook it at home, and yeah, can't afford that anymore. Going out to McDonald's now is like going out to a fucking fine restaurant. So yeah, no.
What about you, Reverend?
Yeah, maybe just about like 3-4 days the most, and that's enough, man. You're sitting on the toilet screaming, "Holy shit!" You're like, "No, I'm done, man. Enough." No.
No, Reverend, are you in the same age group as Wasted and Liarz are? They're either late 40s, very, very early 50s. Like Wasted, I'm not trying to dox Wasted there. He just turned a magical number. And I just left my 30s. So, I mean, what age group are you falling in? I'm a millennial. Are you a Gen Xer?
I'm on the back half of 40, yep.
Okay. So, I think that also contributes to what you're eating. I mean, I think the generation we got now is actually eating better than Gen Xers did, and definitely better than millennials did. Because I think Gen Xers just fucking, they're like Wasted. Fucking just, what'd you do today? I drank a gallon of Mountain Dew, a couple bags of fucking Doritos. Everything was grand.
Pretty sure my first words in life were McDonald's.
It's funny how kids just fucking know what McDonald's is. My kids knew what McDonald's was when they were like 2 years old, man. It's crazy. I don't know how that fucking happened, but they knew what McDonald's was, and they always wanted McDonald's. A follow-up to that is we'll touch on this briefly, just because it was asked. And if you had to put your life on it, do you think Trump will make it to Election Day alive? Brasky?
I hope so. I don't know. I really don't. I can't. Like right now, the world we're living in is not a world I understand. It's extreme on every aspect of whatever your political views are. It's crazy. Looks like World War III is breaking out any time. By the time we actually post this episode, I have no idea what the world will be like. My best answer is I hope so. I don't wish any political violence on either side. That shit's bad overall. You should be an adult and be able to use your words and, hopefully your votes, and hopefully they're legit votes. But I don't know. I wish I could tell you differently.
Yeah, no, fair. Wasted. What do you think?
Well, I think if it's the CIA, then he probably won't make it, because they want to kill him for so many reasons, and World War III would start if they did, which is what they want. So,
what do you think would start first, World War III or a civil war in the United States?
I think both will happen at the same time. The Civil War will give them the power to start the Third World War.
Right.
Well, this episode we're recording now looks like we've been commenting on Russia, Ukraine for the last couple of years, and we've talked about what's going on with Israel and Hamas, and Israel possibly getting involved with Hezbollah. But earlier today, Israel and Yemen are now getting into it, and Yemen's got a long history with a war with them in Saudi Arabia, and it just came out this week. Iran's 2 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. It looks like the Middle East is going to go up in flames and go out to an all-out war here sooner rather than later. So I think World War III might start any day. And with Trump, like I said, I hope he makes it. I hope Biden makes it. I don't know anymore. I think either way, if anything happens to either one of them, it's bad for the country and bad for everyone in general, because you're going to have a lot of pissed off people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What's your thoughts, Reverend Jay?
All right. I think that they took their shot. They missed. I honestly don't think they're going to try again, because the movement is bigger than the man now. Now I think they could take him out, and I don't think it's going to make a licking difference of what's going to happen. Who would he pick as vice president? J.D. Vance, he would win easily. Like, it's gone beyond Trump now. It's bigger than that. So I think they took their shot, they missed, and away we go, right?
I'm with you on that one. That's exactly my thought process, actually. Yeah, they took their shot and they missed, and they're not going to do another one. Yeah, that's.
I'll say this because I talked to Wasted a lot, and thank God they missed, number one. But Wasted said to me, when me and him were having private conversations, and Wasted, I hope you're all right with me saying this. If not, we'll edit it out. But Wasted, I said the same thing to Wasted. Like, oh, well, you know, they fucked up, and he's still kicking. And then Wasted's like, you know how many times they tried with Kennedy? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, and then Wasted just went in like multiple times they tried with Kennedy before it happened.
Really? I didn't know that.
Wasted, I'm going to go take a piss, so tell them.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7. Basically different mafia groups like Trafficante, Giancana, and Marcello in Dallas. But there were plots in Florida, which they you know, those Cuban exiles and guns, rooms of guns, and Kennedy didn't go, so they avoided that one. In Chicago, there was a plot, and there's somebody called like Valley. Valley was involved in that one, I think, in Chicago, and that was probably it was a different mafia group than Marcello who did it in Dallas. And then Valet's basically like another, was going to be the patsy in Chicago, and Valet was also in Dallas. With Oswald was the patsy in Dallas, and Valet was, there's something, I forgot what it's called the something Mart, but it was if they missed in Dealey Plaza, there was another plot, so that's why you get 7. So there were kind of like basically 6 or 7. There's 2 plots kind of set up in Dallas if you want to get to 7, but there were 6. There was also a guy who loaded up his car with explosives and was going to crash into Kennedy's car, but he pulled out at the last second. And there was another guy who took some pot shots at Kennedy at a motorcade in some other city. So I think there's basically 4 by the mafia, and I think the Marcello one is where they just brought in, like, they had like 6 or 7 shooters. Files, one guy had his fingerprints all over the Oswald nest, and I think it's Jason Files. He actually confessed in police custody to doing it. But yeah, there were like 6 or 7 like mafia shooters in Dallas. So, but yeah, definitely 6 plots to get Kennedy. And then
there's all the ones we haven't heard about, right? Like, especially with Trump too. I'm sure we haven't heard about tons of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's been plots to kill Bolton Pompeo from Iran that, you know, doesn't get a lot of media coverage, but there have been Iranian assassination plots on these different people. And also,
yeah, it's convenient that came out.
In Dallas, I think after Dallas, Kennedy was scheduled to go to like LBJ's like ranch or something, and supposedly there were a load of shooters there. They basically decided that he was getting killed. It was going to be very difficult.
When you say they, who you mean the CIA?
Well, the CIA is like the kind of like they're part of the Oswald patsy setup, you know, to frame him for it, and they covered everything up. And they also, the handler of Oswald was like, you know, Demoirenshield. He was like talking to he's a sort of Russian CIA oil guy, but he was Oswald's handler. And when you say they, everybody, like the CIA could cover it up, but it was the mafia and all those hitmen that were, you know, had the shooters. And obviously the Ruby killing Oswald, that's classic, like mafia, that's what they do. And they have a patsy. And the CIA do these cutouts so that, you know, there's like three Oswalds, you know. The one that went to Mexico isn't Oswald, it's some other guy, you know, just making it look like he was trying to defect. So they're kind of like framing him, you know. He thinks one thing, you know, but he didn't realize.
Do you think?
But yeah, that's all just conspiracy, basic, like basically.
Sure.
Like, but the assassination attempts are just like, yeah, fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that Lee Harvey Oswald was involved? Not involved. Do you think Lee Harvey Oswald was aware that he was being used as a patsy?
No, not until the actual day.
Okay.
I mean, the people that he was living with, like he went to Russia, didn't he, on a double agent program, and so did Valley. Yeah, if you look at the pictures of them too, they look the same, but they have the same background. They both went to the same Japanese military camp, the same Japanese military base in Japan, Valley and Oswald. So they were being trained as double agents. That's why Oswald could get back into the country without, because he defected and came back. But yeah, they were using that as a sort of to make it look like he could. He's the shooter. And then he was he's actually hanging out with the sort of right-wing militias in New Orleans.
Right.
But he was in the daytime pretending to be pro-Castro.
Interesting.
So to make it look like, the pro-Castro guy killed the pro-Castro president. So he was being set up in that way. But he probably thought that he was part of the plan.
Makes you wonder what we'll learn about this little twerp.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's where I was going to go with this with Wasted but you bring it up a good point is, do you see the attempted assassination on Trump in the same light as you see these guys? So I'm not going to say his name. First off, it doesn't come to my mind, and secondly, I don't want to give any credence to it. But the shooter in the assassination attempt, do you think he was used in the same way as the patsies in the JFK assassination attempts?
Well, when I first heard about the shooting, I just immediately think CIA, MK Ultra. But yeah, we got the CIA, basically the Secret Service standing down. That part of it, everybody kind of accepts. Something shady going on there with the lax security, a bit like the JFK. The way that they changed the parade route, there was no agents in certain areas. Open top car. They planned the route to change the route to go past the depository and the grassy knoll. So there's all that kind of stuff, and that seems similar to these kind of excuses that they're coming up with the shooting, with Trump. But obviously, I thought MK Ultra, but at the beginning, it seemed like this. The shooter's actually he's very isolated, right? He's clean. He has no social media presence.
Yeah, too clean.
Doesn't seem to talk to anybody his entire life, So these are kind of you want a more direct link, So that's what they've got these 3 encrypted accounts now, and they're trying to sort of tie it to Iran or something, aren't they? But who knows who he was in contact with. My pet conspiracy theory is that Kimberly Cheetle, the head of the Secret Service, who's organizing all this, she in 9/11 she was working with Dick Cheney. She was his security team. So there's a connection between Kimberly Cheetle and Dick Cheney. And I was reading this book about MK Ultra, experiments. I can't remember which one it was, whether it was the McGowan one or the Pelote one. But Dick Cheney's contribution to MK Ultra was that he wanted to in MK Ultra, they cause pain to children in early age to produce these kind of alternative identities that kind of set with triggers. And Dick Cheney was in on some of that, and his idea was to electrocute women's girls' genitals directly with an electric current to cause the pain. They'd never really done that before. So what I'm saying is that Cheetle knows Cheney knows MK Ultra. So that's the only connections that I can find through the whole thing that link the I mean, there's kind of like suspiciousness around that kid because he's like an autist, isn't he? He's a computer scientist autist. Yeah. He's so isolated and clean. There's no background, right? He's just come straight out of the program or something.
Today they came out with, and obviously it's hard for us to, because we're not a show that, we don't do the show and then post it the next day. So there's going to be a lot more information comes out by the time the show is posted. But they said he had 3 encrypted foreign bank accounts today.
That's what I saw too.
So, I mean, why would a kid in Western Pennsylvania, which I know you guys are from Canada, so you won't know this, but Wasted, you lived in the States. Listen, dude, Western Pennsylvania is God's country. It's, it's old Rust Belt area. It's old unions. It's, it's very, very, it's not very diverse. It's very, it's like if you ever watched the fucking movie with Harrison Ford, The Witness. This is near, it's like, it's Amish country. It's steelworker country. It's, blue collar American, not very diverse area. So why would a kid who lives out in Western Pennsylvania have 3 foreign bank accounts? And it's funny because the FBI said they couldn't get into his phone, but they were able to get into all these people's phones that were at that place back in 2021, a certain thing that happened in D.C. And the reason we're not saying it is because we don't want to get, flagged on YouTube. But to say a lot of people did did a stupid thing at our nation's capital back then, but they were able to get in all their phones really quick. So they can't get into this fucking kid's phone. I mean, he's 20 years old, he has no military background. It's not saying, it doesn't look like he's some super secret agent, but he has 3 foreign fucking bank accounts. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay. Please go forward. I just wanted to chime in on that one. Waste was saying that, this kid looks like he's the perfect, MK Ultra suspect. I mean, when you see this fucking guy, it looks just like, a Lee Harvey Oswald type.
Her comment on the slope roof is the one that got me. I'm like, huh? You had 2 other guys on a slope that was worse than the one you just said you couldn't put guys on because it's a safety hazard. Where are you hiring these guys? Jeez.
Dude, 150 fucking yards. 150 yards. That's a football field and a half. An American football field and a half. How the fuck do you not have a sniper team on that roof? I get if this kid was a mile out and was making fucking shots like an Olympic shooter, but you're telling me 150 yards out, you don't have someone on the roof, especially when they have him on video for like 2 hours beforehand, an hour beforehand, people going, hey, look at this fucking guy, and they saw him in the scope, and they let him shoot first. I mean, there's so many things we can go on about this. I want more information to come up before we comment, but I mean, this isn't, nothing about this seems right.
Like he came in there, and he came in the perimeter without his gun. How did he get back out of the perimeter and get back into the perimeter with a rifle?
He didn't go back into the perimeter with a rifle. The buildings are outside the perimeter. But he went through into the sort of Trump area, the rally area with a rangefinder.
Yeah.
And he was wandering around at that building for a long time. And if you saw in that video where the cop, because basically on that side of the perimeter it's all cops. Mm-hmm. And now they're like saying like, no, it wasn't our jurisdiction, it was yours. Like
the cops were in the building.
Cheetle is saying that it was the cops' side, and the cops are saying no, it was supposed to be you. But really,
the guy from Butler County today Wasted. The guy who's the town manager in Butler County is just going, you're full of shit to the Secret Service agent. He posted that, no, that's not true. And they told him that we didn't have enough local law enforcement to cover the event, and that all the cops are actually, in the building below. One cop went up the stairs, saw the guy pointed the gun at him. For some reason, didn't light off around, but yet they still let, the sharpshooting team didn't see him, even though there was already radio reports, everything else, etc. But, here's another crazy thing. The Secret Service didn't have any drones up, but now it came out today that this kid had a drone up 2 hours before the event, and he, surveyed the area with a fucking drone. So, I mean, there's so many things that are pop out about this. I was trying to avoid this topic a lot tonight just because we don't know the information. By the time this comes out, it's going to be outdated, but there's a whole bunch of this that just doesn't seem right, and it's really fucked up, and it's a sad thing overall for this country and for the world.
Did you hear the part about when I was saying that the head of the Secret Service used to work for Dick Cheney?
Yeah, there's a fucking surprise. Fuck. This whole thing's fucked. He was in a BlackRock video.
Yeah, fuck.
I kid you not. Literally, he was in a fucking video
for
Black.
Yeah, you didn't see that? Yeah, he was in it.
What was he doing? Was it like a promotional video for BlackRock?
Yeah, it was BlackRock Educational for like the Pittsburgh school systems, and he's featured in the video.
Yeah.
Holy fucking Christ, man.
He also studied the JFK assassination at school. You know, like when you pick an era of history, he picked JFK.
Well, that's not surprising. I mean, just want to get as much info as he can, probably on everything. But let's move on to our last question.
Yeah, let's. And I just want to comment on this. Whatever political way you lean, left or right, I don't really give a flying fuck. This wasn't a good thing for the country or the world, and I don't wish it on any elected leader, of Democrat, Republican, whatever. That shit just does not need to happen. And there's a lot of shit that's being said. Let the truth come out, whatever it is, and hopefully as a country we can deal with it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So with that said, let's move on. Thank you, Brasky.
So don't worry, you'll probably have another Trump question pop up now.
No, we don't. I made sure we didn't. This one is about, it's the summertime, and summer blockbusters are a thing.
Oh.
Are they even a thing anymore? Like, it's hard. Like, I know we've got some movies coming out this summer into the theaters, and of course we got the big one that came out on Netflix, and that's what the question is about. What did you guys think of Axel Foley? They don't make these kind of movies anymore. Would fit perfectly on a double bill with one of the Lethal Weapon sequels. Eddie Murphy was one of the 1980s shooting star gods, along with Michael Jackson and Mike Tyson. I always compare those three to Richard Pryor, James Brown, and Muhammad Ali. Those guys had a longer run of sustained brilliance, but Murphy, Tyson, and Jackson were as good as those guys ever were in the 80s. Then in the 90s rolled around and the Cinderella syndrome kicked in. So, have you guys seen Axel Foley?
Yeah.
And?
Yeah. I mean, I like the overall, like, 80s. It's like 80s movie kind of grittiness. I think the whole thing kind of, like, held together as, like, with the first one and the second movie. You know? I don't think it was woke. Like, and it didn't, like, turn, Eddie Murphy... it wasn't Lizzo playing Eddie Murphy. It wasn't like a load of female Ghostbusters or anything. They played it pretty kind of down the line. It was a little bit sad seeing how old Taggart and Billy are, and even Eddie Murphy when he, when you go turn the sort of jets on in the first two, when he's pretending to be somebody else or just bullshitting the employees of a building or something. He was like faster, wasn't he, back in the 80s? And now he's a little bit like he's like older, so I can sort of see why a younger audience wouldn't like it, but they didn't really like ruin anything for the people who watched those movies back then.
Yeah, it was good. It didn't have enough. It didn't have like super over fan service, but it was enough and a good story that it was good. It was entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, and it had that freeze frame of Eddie Murphy at the end. It had those like motifs and. There was like deja vu with the different, scenes and the same catch line. What's Billy's line? You can't have too much firepower.
There was a cameo in that movie that might be one of the greatest crossovers to a golf movie you've ever seen, but it was pretty good.
What was you gonna mention the Happy Gilmore Shooter Gavin fucking crossover or what?
Yeah, Shooter McGavin's in it. That's awesome.
Shooter McGavin plays Shooter McGavin?
Yeah,
it's definitely Shooter.
Nice. That's. He's.
I mean, well, did you see it, Liarz? Did you see it yet or not?
No, I have not.
Well, I've seen it. Yet. I saw it, and I waited for a while because my dad was in the hospital for a bit. Then I go to rehab to get better. So I waited till he came home. I always remember watching the Beverly Hills Cop movies with my pop when I was a kid, and so I definitely wanted to watch with him. So I watched it with the whole family. The best way to describe this. It's better than 3. 3 is a fucking horrible movie. 1 and 2 are all-time greats. They're classics. You're not gonna touch those. This was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a good movie. It was all the member berries that you wanted. It was all the nostalgia that you wanted. Fucking Surge was in it. Paul Reiser was in it. Billy and Taggart were in it. Everything that you wanted out of this movie, it pretty much gave you. Now, is it going to be one of those movies that you watch, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, like you do the first two? Of course not. But with the shit they've been putting out in theaters lately, and movies in general, it was an enjoyable movie. It wasn't no Top Gun Maverick, which is actually as good as the original, but it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I encourage anyone to watch it. It wasn't filled with a bunch of woke nonsense. Everything was realistic. His daughter was a good character in the movie. The bad guy played by Kevin Bacon was a good, spoiler alert, was a good villain. It was a good movie. It's something that, like, when you go to the movies, you're like, oh yeah, you left enjoying it, or if you watch, obviously every one of us watched it on Netflix, but you enjoyed watching it. You walked away from it afterwards like, oh, I enjoyed that. It was fun watching a movie. And that's what movies are fucking supposed to be. Now, Liarz, there's other movies that are all about nostalgia this year coming out. There's a bunch of, sequels or remakes. You were mentioning that someone might have saw the new Twister movie. Is this true, Liarz?
Yes, Mr. Reverend Jay. Before we got on the show today, you told me you just got back. You just saw it this afternoon. What are your thoughts on it?
I have to be careful with the spoilers. Well, I'll give a general thing about it.
How many cows were there flying?
It's yeah. The movie, I would say they were borderline, because Hollywood nowadays is very, you don't know what to expect from them. They're gonna go super woke or they're not, or like Top Gun Maverick was fine, it wasn't woke, but this one you could tell in spots they were borderlining this shit. They're like, should we go in on climate change or should we not? So they were like on that fucking line about why there's so many tornadoes going on now. But I will say that the effects in the tornadoes are cool. The dude from Top Gun Maverick, great. The rest of it, I don't know. The end was like, yeah, typical Hollywood nowadays, but I don't know. It's mid. It's all right. One of those.
That's disappointing. I was really looking forward to that fucking movie. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something controversial here, and it's going to piss off everyone. Everyone's probably that listens to the show. They must be like, man, we used to listen to Brasky on the Fat Cast, and boy, he was about, he'd come off as MAGA as hell. I'm still me. I just respect other people's decision to choose, and if it's something really stupid, I'll fucking say it. I don't care.
Sure.
But when it comes to climate change, I've actually changed my stance in the last couple of years now on climate change. And now, granted, the fucking hippies that are flying all the way across the world under private jets like Al Gore, that's, doing more to hurt the climate than anybody. And I've already said it many times on the show that there's, North America, and Europe can do all they want to do with, doing these restrictions. They can change shit if India and China are fucking, burning coal at record levels and all that other stuff. But I'll tell you right now, the climate has definitely fucking changed. I moved back up to the Northeast here, and it is fucking hot and humid like I've never seen it before. We barely had any snow this winter. It's just like, this is not what I remembered.
That part's definitely, that's so accurate of like, it's noticeable, but and then I think the problem is everybody gets into the weeds about how that's where the problem is how this is happening. That's where the argument, I think, starts, because everyone can see this shit's getting like warmer and crazier, but it's the hows, right?
Yeah, agreed. And we're having a civilized discussion about it like fucking adults instead of going, you know what it is, man? I'm telling you right now, it's plastic bags. Like, so the solution is no plastic bags at the grocery stores. That's what they just did in Massachusetts. Everyone knows I'm in Boston, so I don't give a fuck. So no plastic bags at the grocery store. But then I said to myself, Self, when I was a kid, I was told that trees are the main things that protect us from global warming and help the ozone layer because they absorb all the CO2 and everything. So their solution is to ban plastic bags, but to cut down more fucking trees. That doesn't sound like a good plan.
No, it doesn't make sense.
And then their solution is electric vehicles. Well, wait a second. To produce electricity, you need to have an electrical grid. Where is all that magical energy coming from? And like with AI, it's like, oh, well, AI is going to help out. Well, AI is going to take so much more power out of the world, and all these batteries and everything they do now that like is supposed to be better for, instead of using like old steel, everything's now going to like, oh, this is space age aluminum and this and that. Well, guess what? You get into a car accident in some of these new cars, your whole car is totaled because the battery system, the aluminum and all that shit costs the insurance company way too much. So they just total out your car. So a lot of these things they're talking about with renewable energies, this and that, is not the plan. Now, cold fusion would be fucking awesome if we could get that. Nuclear would be great if we could keep it safe and, figure a way to get rid of the nuclear waste in a safe way. But I don't have the answers, but I'm pretty sure they don't either. It's good to have the conversation, but can everyone sit at the table like a fucking adult and not let their politics get involved and actually, hey, is there anything we can do? Or is this actually a cycle the earth goes under? Or is this something that's man-made? And if it is man-made, what can we do to help it? What can we do to try to slow it down? But instead, people just get bought up by corporations and they just fucking spread the narrative from corporations.
I think you're bang on.
Some narratives in movies are good. Like, that movie Philadelphia back in the day with Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington. It pushed a good narrative in the movie. Okay, that makes sense. Aaron Brockovich, hey, that pushed a good narrative in a movie. But when I see a movie about a fucking twister, I want to see a twister fucking shit up, and I want to see some cows flying.
I think it's easy to get, from a movie making standpoint, it's easy to get trapped in that hole, get caught up into the whole whatever's the topic du jour. I don't even know if it's about telling a story anymore as it's about selling movie tickets, right? Because it's all about, everything that you hear about movies now, especially coming out of Hollywood. Actually, I'm talking specifically about Hollywood. It's all about the big budget movies. It's the summer blockbuster. It's X number of millions of dollars. That was hundreds of millions of dollars that was spent to make this movie. Need to make the money back. So if they're gonna go down the avenue of tickling climate change into the movie, they're going to do it whether it's right or wrong, because they know that it will sell tickets, right? And I think that's the main goal now is revenue and ensuring that you're getting your return on your investment for the producers and all the investors into the movie. Now, I miss the days when it was just about the movie, like the original Twister. I'm bring that one up. I'm old enough to remember when it was in the theater, as are you guys, and it wasn't a very well reviewed movie. People were laughing at it. I mean, Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt were made fun of constantly because of this silly movie that they were doing, but yet it was a huge, massive success. Along the same lines of Tremors. Like, Tremors is ridiculous and made fun of, and Kevin Bacon.
How dare you?
Hey, hold on. Let me finish. And made fun of it and all that, but it was an awesome movie, and it did really well, and it spawned, like, I think 3, 4, maybe 5 sequels. And man, I loved Tremors. Loved it. I loved Tremors when it came out, and I enjoyed the original Twister too, because it told the story, right? And it was fun to go to the theater, and it was fun to get your popcorn and your drink and whatever other snacks you had, and you're with your buddies, your friends, maybe your girlfriend, whomever, and you're going to watch this fun movie that is completely ridiculous, whether it's Twister or Tremors, whichever one you were going to see, because that was what the movies were back then. And, that's not even that long ago. It's 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And, it was more about telling a story. Now, I think you get these they're gonna do the whatever's gonna sell tickets more into movies now, and they're gonna maybe take away from the story a bit to get that political angle in, because they know they're gonna sell tickets. Am I wrong for thinking this? I don't think I am.
I'm just mad at you right now for the Tremors comment, because the only thing I'm thinking right now with Tremors is there's nobody that I want more of a next door neighbor than the fucking guy who was all prepared, that had all the guns and all the rations, and he's like, yep, I knew this shit was coming. That's the guy I want as my next door neighbor. Him and his wife had shit on lockdown, ready to rock and roll. That guy's fucking awesome. You're mentioning the movies, buddy, and I wanted to mention this. The one movie that's the big blockbuster that everyone's banking on being successful, and Disney's praying it is one movie that they know that, you know what, we probably shouldn't put a bunch of political shit in this, because that's not what people want to see, is Deadpool 3. They're like, all right, fucking let's just get Wolverine, let Ryan Reynolds do whatever the fuck he wants. If you watch the first 2 Deadpools, there's nothing political in it. It's just, you go in there, you watch a bunch of shit get blown up, a bunch of jokes, everyone laughs, everyone has a good fucking time. And guess what? That's going to be probably the most successful movie of the year, because it's just what people want. And I really hope they don't fuck it up, but it doesn't look like they are. So I'm excited to see that one. I'm hoping it's everything it's going to be.
I went to see the Fly Me to the Moon. That's that's just nice. I think if you've got a wife or girlfriend, you could go to that movie. But it's obviously like propaganda.
So why'd you go to see it, Wasted?
I don't know. I wanted to see which way they went on it. It's just nice. It's like a sort of Tom Hanks movie or a Spielberg movie. You know what I mean? It was a little bit of a break from like World War III, and it is funny, and Scarlett Johansson is like nice in it, and it's sort of it's how they they marketed it or faked the moon landing. But in this movie, they also really did land on the moon. But the footage they tried to use, it's kind of like a comedy. I think it's actually a good movie, I think, but it's not like an edgy movie. But it's funny. It is funny. And at the end of it, there was the Chinese audience gave it a standing ovation.
You were in Taiwan. You just call them the Chinese audience. I'm starting to think you're a CCP agent more and more every fucking day.
Oh my God.
They're Chinese people. Yeah.
See? Fucking, you hear it, Liarz? We figured out the angle. It took years, but we figured it out. CCP sent Wasted over to fucking work for them. He turned a long time ago on the British MI6 to go fucking work for or MI5 to go work for the fucking Chinese. God damn it, Wasted. You sellout.
That answers a lot of questions.
Sure does, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The mystery of Wasted just got a little clearer.
Yeah, of course it did. Now we know. He goes, it took a while, but you fucked up, Wasted. You just said the Chinese audience in Taiwan stood up and applauded. That's why he's not afraid about World War III. He's just going to go back over to his new home country of China.
They're Chinese ethnically, in a way, most of them, or half of them. But I actually did, when I first went to China, I worked on editing books, like textbooks and stuff. And,
propaganda.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the actual... but yeah, just nature textbooks for education, and I did. There's these jobs that they talk about. When I got back to the UK or in the West, I was reading these articles about how these Chinese companies hire a Western person just as a front to make their. So when we went to the conferences to sell the book, I was standing. All I did was edit it, but I'd be on the stage making the product, the textbook, look more legit. It was, backed up by a sort of Western person. So it must be a good textbook. So it's kind of you felt like a prostitute. And then sometimes they just take you to these places and you didn't even work on the project. You just hanging around in the background, making them look good. But you actually get paid just to be the sort of token Western person selling the product. I don't know. I thought it was sort of weird,
Liarz, does that wrap up the AMAs for tonight?
That's all I have.
Well, I want to thank everyone for asking us the questions, and Liarz, of course, is reading the questions so we can answer. He does a great job with that. Thank you, folks, for giving us some AMAs that helped, because tonight's show, it was hard to come up with topics. Usually we sit around beforehand and we try to go over topics of what we want to discuss, but with how quickly the world's changing and the events of the world, it's anything we talk about, it's going to be really outdated by the time the show comes out. I know Wasted has a few topics tonight. We're gonna talk about those here in a second, but we appreciate the AMAs. Thank you very much for them, and we hope we gave you the answers you wanted. If not, we hope we made you ask a lot more questions. Wasted, are you with me?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. You had some topics that tickled your fancy?
Are you referring to the ones in the chat, or the ones that I mentioned before the show?
I love that there's no theater of the mind here. Yes, the ones that are in the chat, Wasted.
Okay. There was a sort of boa constrictor. Some woman, she was a wife, and she disappeared for 2 days. After a few days, they found her inside she was dead, and she'd been eaten, her whole body had been eaten by this boa constrictor.
How big was the woman?
I don't know. It's a huge snake, though. But she must have it strangled her first, and then it just swallowed her. So when they cut open this snake that wasn't moving around very much because it was so heavy, they found her whole body inside of it.
Good Lord.
I just wondered, did you know any girls at school who could swallow a whole body?
I've known some girls who could swallow a snake, but
So I'm reading this. She was a mother of 4, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It says it's in Florida, but there was also another story that was in Indonesia.
Yeah,
it's happened before, I think.
But those snakes in Indonesia are nothing to be fucked with, man. I was over there as a kid, and they were pretty big.
What the fuck were you doing over in Indonesia?
Oh, well, my family are all missionaries, and we were in the jungle there for 3 months. My mom was doing some translating the Bible stuff, so we were deep in the jungle, and we had I was screaming one night, and we fucking ran out, and this 40-foot fucking python or something crawled into my aunt and uncle's hut, and the villagers came and chopped its head off in the fucking bed, and this head was the size of my fucking head as a fucking 7-year-old. That's what I remember from that trip, is this goddamn huge snake out there, man.
Reverend Jay, you just mentioned, let's say your parents were missionaries, and now you've come on here and been blasphemous and sanctimonious a few times tonight, and you joined this fake church, the Universal Church. But you come from a background of your family being missionaries.
Yeah.
How did they react to you becoming a minister?
Oh, I disown,
What?
Liarz, please follow up on that.
I'm at a loss for words. So your family, they disowned you for real because you became an ordained minister.
No, I just made that shit up. I don't really talk to them much. They probably don't know. I don't know how they would react to it. They're very Christian-y type, missionary type. So the open religions, they're probably not down with that. You know?
Yeah. Well, you got those Hollywood types in your church, so I can't see them being too accepting to that. They go against everything the Word of God stands for, if you ask me. But back to Indonesia, like for real, the snake, I would imagine some form of python, maybe an anaconda. I don't know if the anacondas are in Indonesia or not. Came into the tent for real, and they had to chop off its head.
Yeah, man. Like it was like they had when we were out there, we stayed in like these hut things, and there was just the screaming one night, and like, well, what the hell is going on? And this tail was like, I remember running up as a kid. I was only 7, but this thing's tail was coming out the front door of their hut, and then it was up in their bed, and like the villagers would come in and cut its head off right in their bed, and I remember seeing it there, and I picked up this stupid snake's head, and I put it in my hand. It was fucking bigger than my hand. It was like the size of my head. So I'd never seen it. Like I was a weirdo kid, and I thought this was kind of cool, right? But yeah, I remember that was the one thing I remember from that trip. It was crazy, big snakes out there, man.
Where else did your family go for missions? You know what I mean? Where else did you go?
That was the only trip we ever took. Was out to Indonesia for like 3 months back in like the 80s, somewhere in the mid 80s. We went out there.
I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I don't even think I could point Indonesia out on a map. I don't even know where it is, to be honest with you.
Like north of Australia to like Papua New Guinea, right beside it.
It's like below Thailand.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
It's like half
like
of it is like the southern half is like basically like Muslim like terrorist areas where you can't go, and then further up it's like more like closer to being more like Western, like Thailand.
Wasted. Have you been to Jakarta?
Is that Indonesia?
Yeah.
I've only been to like an island off the coast of Indonesia, I think.
Papua New Guinea.
Singapore. I think from Singapore you can take a boat to an island, and I think it is Indonesia. I've forgotten what it's called. Basan or something like that.
Okay,
It's just a holiday island. But yeah, most of the Indonesians, I think, in China or Hong Kong, they're normally made from the Philippines or Indonesia.
Yeah, it's a crazy area over there. Jakarta is like a really big, dirty city now. That's what I remember of it. We had a taxi driver who took us around the roundabout. They had this big roundabout in the center of town, and he'd go round and around, screwing us out of money. I remember that part. It was big.
Oh yeah, the traffic is crazy in those places. Like no rules. Like in Cairo or in Bangkok is also crazy. Like they're just trying to rip you off. The taxi drivers, especially in Egypt. Like when you get off the airport at Cairo, they basically just, it's like, my friend, I'll give you a good deal. And they barter a price. And then when you get to the destination, they just like tripled the price. They said, no, you say like $30. You're like, and wherever you go, they're basically trying to rip you off. It's like really bad. Like, you've got like 3 or 4 guys following down the street trying to sell you like, I don't know, like pipe, those snake baskets and pipes and things. In Egypt, it's a bit like that. And then, Bangkok is definitely a little bit dangerous. Like once I was there, and there was like a terrorist attack in the middle of the city, and they got cordoned off the city and shut down the airport, so I couldn't leave. Like all the hotels have these like scanners. When your taxi goes into a hotel, they like scan underneath for bombs, because there's always these like terrorist attacks in Thailand. Like one year I went to the cinema to like see one of these like Thai like kickboxing movies, like ultra violent. And then when I went home, they bombed that cinema the next week. And then I decided I'm not going to Bangkok anymore. I just go straight through to, like, the Western tourist areas. Safer. Bangkok's like just dirty and dangerous.
It's part of the world I've never been to.
Dude, I'm never flying again. We've already discussed that, so I ain't going any fucking where. Like, we've already discussed it with our conversations about Boeing and their wonderful fucking planes that keep crashing and all the other fucking wonderful things. I'm never fucking flying again, ever in my life. But Wasted, did you have any more topics tonight that were tickling your fancy?
There was one that I was looking at. I think it's about like the microplastics in like plastic bottles being the cause for like erectile dysfunction. So now I know why. Why won't it work? It's because I drank
wouldn't be the fucking case of beer a day wasted.
Got like beer dick.
That's true. They're finding that stuff in dudes like sperm counts or testicles or something. Like it's all like plastic tons of it, right?
Yeah, that's what they're finding. They're doing tests of these like semen, and they're finding like high levels of this, like these microplastics, and that was like affecting like the boner, strength of their boner.
Yeah, what this is. So what do you know about this, Jay? Yeah, you obviously have heard about this before. What have you heard?
Yeah, I just caught whiff of this story not long ago, actually, and I didn't really dig deep into it too much. But yeah, I've heard the plastics. Yeah, we got some plastic problems with the boy.
Microplastics have been discovered in penises for the first time, raising questions about a potential role in erectile dysfunction. So yeah, just like you said, Jay, they're detected in the testicles and semen. And male fertility has fallen in recent decades. I think we've talked about that on this show before. And more research on potential harm of microplastics to reproduction is imperative, says experts say. So they said that the penis is particularly vulnerable to contamination with microplastics due to high blood flow during erections. And they said the way people ingest microplastics is through eating, drinking, and breathing. And the tiny particles have been detected in blood. There appears to be widespread contamination of people's bodies with microplastics, with scientists finding them wherever they look. The impact on the health is yet unknown, but microplastics have been shown to cause damage to human cells in the laboratory. So, I mean, of course, they're going to associate stroke and heart attack with this. Their arteries are contaminated. So where are these microplastics coming from? Is it?
Well, the story that was in Asia is that there's, like drinking water bottles. Like you've got the mainstream companies, the plastics that they use for drinking water are generally better than the cheaper water bottles. And if you're buying a cheaper water bottle, if you put like hot water or boiling water into that cheaper bottle, that releases more of the microplastics. So it's people that are like reusing a cheap water bottle or a cheap, bikes. They have those drinking bottles that you put on your bike. If it's the wrong kind of plastic, then somebody on a bike is using that cheap plastic and they get like loads more. They're putting maybe warm water into it, but yeah, definitely boiling water releases more. So if you're putting warm water, which they do a lot in Asia, they put hot water into these plastic water containers. So if they're really cheap, then you're going to get a high dose.
So every time one of these water bottles goes into the dishwasher, you're fucked.
Over a longer period, it's more of a sort of build-up over your whole life. But they'd identified, the cheaper plastics. Like if I buy the cheap bottle of water, Evian is probably safer than just some off-brand plastic. And there's like a loophole for like 10 years or something where they were allowed to use these plastics. But yeah, it's hard to know exactly. It could be everywhere. Because they also had some story in one of the Asian cities about for years they've been using this kind of like cut price oil to fry all the food. Like the Chinese food is cooked in like oil. They found that the oil that they've been using is kind of dangerous. They don't use like extra virgin oil. They use like saturated oils. But they were using ones which are like have toxins in them. Oh, another thing that happened around here was that there was like a rash of like arsenic poisonings, like from fast food. Arsenic, yeah. Like when they cook at high temperatures, there is a release of certain amounts of arsenic. I was like, isn't arsenic like poison? But it turns out low levels of arsenic are released in kitchens and stuff, and they have to fall below a certain level. And normally it does stay below that level. But a bunch of like restaurants were shut down when there was a few poisonings or something, because they weren't cleaning the machines properly or something.
Well, that sounds disturbing. Liarz, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean,
well, on that note, buddy, Jay, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, we went from whiskey dick to plastic dick, I guess.
Well,
what about dildos? The microplastics.
Oh shit!
Wow. Alrighty then. Liarz, is there anything else you want to add to the show tonight?
I'm good. I just want to thank
Liarz. It's that magical time of the evening. Take us out.
Thank you everybody for listening, and thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate all of you out there. The numbers are getting stronger on all alternative platforms, and by that I mean Rumble is getting stronger, Apple Podcasts are getting stronger. Spotify, we're remaining steady. We'd like to see a little increase in Spotify, but we're remaining steady there. And of course, YouTube is where the main show goes. That's where I upload it. So, or we upload it, I should say. Thanks everybody for listening. Look for us on all of those platforms. Hit like and subscribe. And with that said, good night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, fame or shame, our next contestant, William Angio! All right, come on. we got a show to do.
You really suck, dude.
Wait a second.
Lovely.
How could I suck? I host a talent show, all right? I'm on national television, and I get paid a lot, all right? And I get chicks. Here, smell.
No, God.
All right? Oh, sorry, that was a sandwich. Smell.
No, I don't want to smell your food.
She wasn't even that fat, all right? So I'm not gay, all right? Whatever, let's get to it, okay? I am so desperate to hear you sing. I mean, last time you were fantastic. So you're going to do a Love Fist classic, right?
It was #1 in Germany for 19 weeks.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's fame or shame for William Angio! Sector. Fantastic. I'm moist. Let's take a break before we hear from the judges and find out if that was fame or shame. Whew, what do you guys think? You want to come see my trailer later? Come on. Come on.